Mary Ellen Pleasant was before Malone, but let's talk about her since we haven't yet on this page. One of the first black women to reach millionaire status did so through a hair care empire, and she was Madam C.J. Walker's mentor. Born on August 9, 1869 in Metropolis, Illinois, entrepreneur and philanthropist Annie Turnbo Malone was the 10th of 11 children. Now, sadly, her parents did die when she was younger, and she was raised by an older sister in Peoria. Although she did go to school, she was sick a lot, so this caused her to withdraw before finishing high school. Annie Malone did love chemistry, and she became aware of the differences in hair texture at a young age when she would do her and her sister's hair. So even though she dropped out of school, she didn't stop learning. When the family moved to Lovejoy, Illinois, Annie decided that she wanted to become a beauty doctor. At just 20 years old, she developed her own shampoo and scalp treatment to grow and straighten hair without damaging the scalp. Scalp was important because following the abolition of slavery, many black women started to straighten their hair as a tactic for survival in a society defined by Eurocentric beauty standards and racial prejudice. Straighter hair was thought more professional and acceptable and offered an incentive for women to alter their natural hairstyles to get better jobs. But these methods, the use of things like bacon fat and heavy oils, were often unhealthy, increased the risk of dryness, structural damage, breakage. And since not many people were teaching black women how to take better care of their hair in this way, Annie was tapping into an untapped market. And by 1902, her home shampoo venture was thriving, and this is when she moved to St. Louis, Missouri. Annie Malone eventually expanded her hair care line to include other beauty products, including her popular Wonderful Hair Grower. Annie Malone met Madam C.J. Walker when she was still going by her government name Sarah Breedlove and struggling with hair loss. Walker had battled dandruff for years and what is called psoriasis of the scalp, which back then they called tetter. So Annie Malone said she gonna help her sister out. She said, listen, sis, wash your hair regularly, use a sulfur-based treatment, improve your diet, massage your scalp. She was giving her the game, all the things. And this was known as Annie Malone's Puro system. And it worked. Madam C.J. Walker followed Annie Malone's advice, and her hair grew from shorter than her ears to past her shoulders. Not only that, but Malone put Madam C.J. Walker on as her sales agent with her company. And then things got a little messy. The tea is that after Walker learned from Malone, she eventually left the company, moved to Denver, and started selling her own products. And one of the products was called the Wonderful Hair Grower. Annie Malone was like, what? Because remember, she already had a product called the Wonderful Hair Grower. Annie was hot. She was so mad that she took out an ad in the Colorado Statesman newspaper warning readers to, quote, beware of imitations. Reports also indicate that in 1912 or 1913, during a National Negro Business League conference in Philadelphia, Annie Malone quietly walked out of the hall while Madam C.J. Walker was speaking because when she was talking about her success, she didn't mention or acknowledge Annie. Still, Madam C.J. Walker's career continued to take off, so much so that she became known as the first black woman millionaire, although there are at least 2 women we know of who got there first. Annie also saw great success. In 1918, Puro's success allowed Malone to build a 4-story, million-dollar factory and beauty school complex in the historic black neighborhood of St. Louis. It employed over 175 people and enabled young black women to pursue their high school and college educations by providing them with jobs and lodging.
What's important about Annie Malone and what's important about Madam C.J. Walker is as they built these empires, as they built these very successful beauty businesses, they saw their businesses as a testament to the race. And so they were very concerned in making sure that black women had jobs. They employed black women in their beauty schools, in their manufacturing plants, in their businesses. They saw their business as creating a greater economic base for black women.